This is page 200. We're getting ready for Module 8. This page right here is just a review of some skills that you need to have to be successful in Module 8. The first section is called Writing Equivalent Fractions. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look for relationships between either numerators or denominators to find missing terms. And I'm going to show my work. It doesn't mean you have to, but you should be able to at least think what I'm doing. I noticed that to get from 18 to 6, I would divide by 3. So if you divide the second term by 3, you divide the first term by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. I noticed that to get from 6 to 18, you multiply by 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. To get from 25 to 5, you divide by 5. 30 divided by 5 is 6. To get from 12 to 36, I multiply by 3. 15 times 3 is 45. To get from 24 to 8, I divide by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. To get from 32 to 8, I divide by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. Divide by 5. 60 divided by 5 is 12. And multiply by 4. It's 36. If you need extra help on those, please let me know. Multiply fractions. This is an awesome review from Module 4. I want you to notice that on the example up here, they show you to simplify ahead of time. I'm going to redo it right here. 5 and 10 share a factor of 5. That would simplify to 1 and 2. 3 and 12 would simplify to 1 and 4. Share a factor of 3. So I'm going to state what I'm doing on these problems, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and I'm going to simplify before I get my answer. And then I'm going to, at the end, when I have all my simplified terms, I'll multiply. 3 and 11 don't share a factor, but 4 and 8 do. 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now I have 3 times 1 is 3, over 2 times 11 is 22. 5 and 15 would simplify to 1 and 3. 8 and 6 share a factor of 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now I have 4 times 1 over 3 times 3. It's 4/9. 7 and 14 share a factor of 7, so it simplifies to 1/2. 3 and 12 share a factor of 3, so it simplifies to 1/4. 1 times 1 is 1, over 4 times 2 is 8. 9 and 5 do not share a factor, but 4 and 20 do. 4 goes into itself once, and 4 goes into 25 times. 9 times 1 is 9, over 5 times 5 is 25. 7 and 21 share a factor of 7. 7 goes into itself once, and 7 goes into 21 3 times. And 20 over 10 would simplify to 2 over 1. 1 times 2 is 2, over 1 times 3 is 3. And 8 and 20 share a factor of 4. 4 goes into 8 twice, and 4 goes into 25 times. 9 and 18 would simplify to 1 and 2. 2 times 1 is, I'm going to end up getting more simplifying here. Check this out. 2 times 1 is 2, over 5 times 2 is 10, and 2/10 simplifies to 1/5. And getting ready to move on. So the bottom of this page is multiplying decimals, and I'll go through about 3 of these problems, maybe 4, and then I'll provide the answers so we don't take up too much time. You can solve these as quickly or slowly as you want, but I'm just going to review with you how to do them. So number 15 is 20 times 0.25, and I'm going to put 0.25 on top. I'm going to put 20 on the bottom, but I like to offset it. Whenever you have a 0 at the end, you can annex it off the side. I'm going to go 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. I'm going to bring the 0 down. So my answer kind of looks like 500, but then I need to move my decimal over twice. The answer is 5. 20 times 0 and 2500 is 5. You don't need the decimal. Like some kids will want to put 5.00. You don't need to do that. 5.00 is the same as 5. I mean, you can have 0.00, you just don't need to. Alright, so let's check out number 16. It's a lot longer of a problem. I'm going to put my long number on top, 1699 on top, and 0.3 on bottom. And really what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend it's just 3 times all these numbers, and then I'm going to put my decimal where it belongs. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 2 is 29. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 2 is 20. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. Now I need to move my decimal over how many times? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The answer for this one is 5 and 0.97. It's 5 and 97 thousandths. Number 17 is, I'm going to put 75 over 0.2. Now I know it looks like 0.2, but you can ditch that 0. It's not going to do anything. You can put a 0. It doesn't matter. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15. Move my decimal over once, it's 15. Okay, I'll do a couple more, and then we're going to just provide the answers for you to try and then check your work. Number 18 is 5.5 times 1.1. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 5 is 5. Put a 0. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 5 is 5. 5, 10, 6. It looks like 605, but then I count over 1, 2 spots, 1, 2 spots. 6.05. Number 19. I've got 1199 times 0.8. I'm going to leave that 0 off because you don't need it. 8 times 9 is 72. 8 times 9 is 72. Plus 7 is 79. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 7 is 15. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 1 is 9. You get 9592. Move your decimal 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 9. And 592 thousandths. Let's do one more, and then you can try the last 3 on your own. 725 times 0.5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. 5 times 7 is 35, 36. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 and 625 thousandths. The last 3, if you want to hit pause now, you can do the last 3, and then you can check your answers when, you can hit resume, check your answers when you're done. Alright, so the last 3. Number 21, the answer is 3. Number 22, the answer is 1 and 875 thousandths. And number 23 is 4 and 55 hundredths. Okay, this video is now going to just go straight into the next page, the vocabulary. Let's go to the top of the page. It's the reading startup page. Visualize vocabulary. Use the check mark words to complete the graphic. You may put more than one word in each box. So here's our check mark words right here. We've got decimal, equivalent fractions, fraction, ratio, and simplest form. So this says reviewing fractions and decimals. What is this? This is a decimal. I wouldn't probably put any other word in there with it. Some of these we might have more than one term, but I would just put decimal here. So over here we've got the first term is a fraction, and the second term I would call a ratio. So I'd put 2 answers in this one, a fraction and a ratio. What is 2/3 and 6/9? Well, those are 2 fractions that would be equivalent. Those are equivalent fractions. And what is it called when you take 4/8 and you rewrite it as 1/2? It's called simplifying, simplest form. Okay, let's check out the vocabulary at the bottom of the page. It says match the term on the left to the correct expression on the right. First term is percent, the second term is model, and the third term is equivalent decimals. And your options are a ratio that compares a number to 100, decimals that name the same amount, and something that represents another thing. I would match it this way. A model is something that matches another thing. So I'm going to do that in green. And I'll switch colors. Equivalent decimals are decimals that name the same amount. So I'd match those. And a percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. And that's really important that you memorize that. Memorize this one right here. Percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. Okay, good job. You are done with page 201.